Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're standing in the heart of London, a place you've probably seen in countless movies and postcards, Trafalgar Square. But beyond the iconic Nelson's Column, the majestic lions, and the bustling crowds, this square holds centuries of hidden stories, surprising secrets, and fascinating transformations. Join me as we peel back the layers and uncover the untold story of Trafalgar Square. Before it was the grand public space we know today, this area was known as Charing Cross. For centuries, it housed the royal mews, the stables for the monarchs of England. Imagine this entire space, not with fountains and statues, but with horses, carriages, and all the associated sights and smells of a working stable yard. It was a vital part of royal life, dating back to the 14th century. The name mews actually comes from the royal hawks that were once kept here in their molting cages, or mews. When the hawks moved out, the horses moved in, but the name stuck. The transformation began in the early 19th century. The Prince Regent, who would later become King George IV, had grand ambitions for London. He enlisted the brilliant architect John Nash to redesign the city, creating a ceremonial route from his home at Carlton House, up Regent Street, to Regent's Park. As part of this sweeping urban renewal, the old royal mews at Charing Cross were deemed outdated. The mews were relocated to Buckingham Palace in the 1820s, clearing the way for something new and magnificent. The initial plan was simply to clear the area and create a cultural space. The name Trafalgar Square was first suggested by the architect George Ledwell Taylor in 1830. It was a tribute to one of Britain's greatest naval victories, the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, where Admiral Lord Nelson decisively defeated the combined French and Spanish fleets. It was a moment of immense national pride, and naming this new central square after it was a powerful statement. The famous centerpiece, Nelson's Column, wasn't part of the original design. It was added later, following a public competition in the late 1830s. The winning design by William Railton was chosen, and construction began in 1840. The 170-foot granite column, topped with a statue of Horatio Nelson himself, took 3 years to complete. Fun fact, the statue of Nelson faces south, looking towards the Admiralty and the sea, forever keeping watch. And what about those for magnificent bronze lions at the base? They weren't installed until 1867, almost 25 years after the column was finished. They were designed by the artist Sir Edwin Landseer, who was famous for his paintings of animals. He took so long to complete the sculptures that rumors began to fly. One story claimed he was waiting for a real lion from the London Zoo to die so he could use it as a model. While he did study lions at the zoo, the delay was mostly due to his perfectionism and other commitments. When they were finally unveiled, they instantly became one of London's most beloved landmarks. Did you know the bronze is said to have been cast from cannons recovered from a French ship? But Trafalgar Square is more than just a monument to naval history. It was designed to be a public space for everyone. The 2 large fountains we see today were added in the 1840s, partly for aesthetic reasons, but also with a very practical purpose. The authorities hoped that the water features would reduce the available space for large crowds, making it harder for riots and public demonstrations to get out of hand. Well, that plan didn't quite work out. From its very beginning, the square has been London's premier spot for public gatherings, celebrations, and protests. It has been the stage for political rallies, anti-war demonstrations, and workers' rights marches for over 150 years. One of the most infamous events was Bloody Sunday in 1887, when a protest over unemployment and Irish policy turned violent, leading to clashes with the police and military. The square became a symbol of free speech and the right to assemble, a role it continues to play to this day. Let's talk about some of the other statues you'll find here. While Nelson dominates the skyline, the square is dotted with other figures. There are generals like Sir Charles James Napier and Sir Henry Havelock, and a prominent equestrian statue of King George IV, but look closely at the corners. You'll notice 4 plinths intended for statues. 3 of them are occupied, but what about the 4th one? This is the famous 4th plinth, and its story is one of the most interesting in the square. It was originally intended to hold an equestrian statue of King William IV, but funds ran out in the 1840s and it remained empty for over 150 years. For decades, it was simply known as the empty plinth. Then, in 1998, a brilliant idea was born. used the fourth plinth as a rotating platform for temporary, contemporary art commissions. Since then, it has hosted an incredible variety of artworks, from a giant blue cockerel to a ship in a bottle, and even a sculpture of a boy on a rocking horse. It's a dynamic, ever-changing part of the square that brings modern art right into the heart of historic London. Now, let's look down. Have you ever noticed this small, shed-like structure near the south side of the square? It looks like a simple kiosk, but it has a secret identity. This is Britain's smallest police station. It was built in 1926 inside an ornamental light fitting. Why? During the 1920s, the square was a hotspot for demonstrations, and the police needed a discreet observation post. This tiny box was hollowed out, fitted with a direct phone line to Scotland Yard, and had just enough room for a single officer to stand and keep an eye on things. When a call was needed, the light at the top would flash, signaling to other officers in the area. Today, it's used by Westminster Council cleaners as a storage cupboard. Another quirky detail involves measurements. Look for the bronze plaques set into the north terrace wall. These are the imperial standard measures: the inch, the foot, the yard, and even more obscure units like the pole and the chain. They were installed in 1876 so that anyone could come and check the accuracy of their rulers or tape measures against the official government standard. It was a public service, ensuring fair trade and accurate construction across the city. They're a fantastic little piece of Victorian history hiding in plain sight. The square has also been a place of national celebration. After World War II, vast crowds gathered here on V-Day to hear Winston Churchill announce the end of the war in Europe. Every year since 1947, the people of Oslo, Norway, have gifted London a magnificent Christmas tree, which stands proudly in the square. This is a gesture of gratitude for Britain's support during the Second World War. The tree lighting ceremony is a cherished annual tradition that kicks off the festive season in the capital. And we can't forget the pigeons. For decades, Trafalgar Square was world famous for its huge flocks of feral pigeons, with tourists buying bird seed to feed them. So, the next time you walk through Trafalgar Square, take a moment to look beyond the obvious. Think of the royal stables that once stood here. Picture the architects and builders toiling away on Nelson's column. Imagine the roar of the crowds during protests and celebrations. Notice the empty plinth celebrating modern art. Find Britain's smallest police station and check your measurements against the imperial standards. Trafalgar Square is not just a landmark, it's a living museum, a public stage, and a testament to the ever-evolving story of London itself. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the secrets of Trafalgar Square. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Let me know in the comments which London landmark you'd like me to explore next. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.